Portshift runtime policies protect your Kubernetes clusters and allow you to manage connections and workloads such as pods and jobs. Use them to validate and control which workloads can run on your cluster or environment and what connections they can make. In this, they are similar to traditional firewall policies, but Portshift policies are applied to workloads, not IP addresses and ports. You create policy rules based on the workload name, risk and vulnerability levels, and labels. This is much more intuitive and suitable to Kubernetes, where workloads start and stop dynamically and can be dynamically deployed on different nodes to meet changing load and other needs. You can create policies that enforce rules and block workloads that violate the rules, or policies that only notify you of violations but otherwise permit the workloads to continue. This is useful in development stages when you are debugging your workloads before deployment to production. Portshift has several types of runtime policies, which together give you full control of what happens on your clusters. The deployment policy controls which workloads are deployed on your clusters. Here are the rules for the deployment policy. Notice they are readable and intuitive. And powerful. A few simple rules regulate all activity. This reduces the chance of error due to complexity. The connection policy controls the network connections your workloads can make, including connections to other workloads and to sources outside your clusters. The cluster event policy controls events that occur in the cluster itself, not necessarily on the worker nodes, and provides holistic cluster-wide security by monitoring requests by workloads to the Kubernetes API. Together, these three policies ensure that the workloads running on your clusters are yours and that they are not performing rogue actions or communications. Further, you can easily apply these policies to any or all of your cluster environments. So, no more copy and paste of policy rules from one policy to another. Let's create a new rule for the deployment policy. First, select the workloads that will be affected by the rule. We can select them by name or by label. We can also optionally set the maximum permissible vulnerability level for a workload in the environment and a pod security profile that the workloads must match. Next, select the environments on which the rule will apply. Here, we can select them by name or by risk level, or we can select all environments. Finally, select the action the rule will perform. The rule can allow the workload to run on the environment, or block it, or allow it but report it. Here is the new rule. Rules are applied from the top to the bottom of this list, so positioning the rule in the list is important. A default rule is always applied and runs last. You can edit this rule like any other rule, but cannot remove it. Portshift makes creating sensible runtime policies even easier with the Policy Advisor here. The advisor suggests new rules based on the actual runtime behavior of your workloads as monitored by Portshift. It suggests both allow and block type rules. You can opt to apply any or all of the suggestions as new rules. Simply and efficiently, you can create a complete set of policies. The advisor runs all the time, so as you deploy different workloads to your environments, it comes up with new suggestions for rules, helping you keep your runtime policies up to date. Let's create a new connection rule. These rules control the connections workloads can make with other workloads. First, select the source workloads, the workloads initiating the connection. We can select them by name or by label. We can also optionally set the maximum vulnerability level for the workload and the Portshift environment on which the workload is running. Select the destination workload in the same way. Finally, select the action the rule will perform, to allow the connection, to only detect it, or to block it. Here is the new rule. Change the position of the rule by dragging it. The default connection rule is here, at the bottom. It always runs. You can edit it. There is a policy advisor for connection rules as well. You can enable or disable rules. By default, they are enabled when they are created. On the Runtime page, you can see the runtime status of your environments. Here are the workloads. They are color-coded to indicate their status. This workload violated a detect workload rule. Here are the connections established between workloads. These are also color-coded. These connections were blocked.